as Mr. Chengappa was saying, despite being only 1.53% of India's landmass, Punjab continues to be the breadbasket of India. We consistently contribute about 30% of India's food grains. And since we are today debating the challenges which face Punjab's economy and challenges which face Punjab as a whole, and without taking too much time, but Raj, I thought I would put in context of how Punjab is placed socially, politically, economically. In 1947, I won't go beyond that, but while India got its freedom, and it was with a lot of physical pain of British bullets and batons, and India was divided into two nations. But actually, India was not divided. It was Punjab and Bengal which were divided. Every other family living in Punjab actually had to migrate from Pakistan, having had to give up everything they owned. And in spite of, you couldn't, a greater tragedy could not have visited Punjab than the partition of Punjab. And despite having gone through this tragedy, within 10 years, within 1 decade of peace, Punjab was able to build the Bhakra Dam, Chandigarh, Punjab Agriculture University. We had, set up ourselves a small industrial base. We had electricity had started coming to villages. But with just 1 decade of peace, and then the 60s, we were again in turmoil with the war in 62, war in 65, war in 71. And barely had we got 1 decade of peace in the 70s, Punjab was destabilized again by our immediate neighbor, and that was in the form of terrorism, which took 1 full decade to subdue, and Punjab is probably only in the world which has seen the back of terrorism. And barely had we come out of terrorism, that Government of India announced a policy of giving special excise and income tax benefits to some of the special category states. And in this case, Himachal and Jammu and Kashmir, you just had to walk across the border. And so the large-scale flight of capital took place in the 80s, in the 90s, and barely had the sunset clause been introduced in that policy that 2 years back, while producing food grains and buying food grains, and I have Director Food sitting in front of me, Mrs. Mitra, there was a gap in the accounts of our food department and the FCI to the tune of 31,000 crores. And we were burdened with, one day before the counting of the election, the previous government gave us a debt of 31,000 crores in 1 day. Punjab, and then GST was introduced, and Punjab is probably the only state where compensation is to the level of about 37%. Punjab has been structurally damaged by the GST. But having said that, I think as a finance minister, the challenges in front of me, having, whatever the circumstances, I'm just given the boundless energy and talent of the people of Punjab. It's like a flame. It can be hidden, but it can never be extinguished. And the role of my government is to reveal that phenomenal flame to the rest of the world. And the role of my government is like that of a canary, which guides the coal miners from the darkest recesses of the earth into light. And what the government has done in the last 2 years, we have cut down on our expenses. We have raised our sources of revenue.